Atram, and today I'm excited to have our very special guest, Michelle Prince. Now, you are going to love this particular episode. Watch, listen on everything she's going to be saying here, because when it comes to business, there's nothing better than people seeking you out, wanting to do business with you, than you hunting everywhere, trying to win business. And one of the best ways to do that is to be seen as the expert, is to be seen as the authority. And Michelle Prince has methodologies and processes and has a method on how you can be that. So stay tuned on how you can be the power of authority in your field. So, with no further ado, Michelle, thank you for choosing to be on the Business Success Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Mac. I'm excited to be here.
And you're all the way from Texas, USA. So thank you. McKinney, you.
Yes, McKinney, Texas. That's right.
All right. For those who are wondering where that is, it's just outside Dallas, which I've just learned as well. Okay. So, Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about maybe your entrepreneurial journey and what's led you to what you're doing now, in fact?
You bet. So my career actually started working with Zig Ziglar pretty much right out of college, and what an incredible foundational
Lucky you.
uh, experience. I know it's kind of a long, crazy story. I'll just give you the highlights. But when I was 18, my parents sent me to a Zig conference, and I went kicking and screaming because I did not want to be there. But at the end of it, I loved it so much. I walked up to Zig and I said, "I'm going to work for you one day. You just wait and see." And it was literally almost 5 years to the day, right after I graduated college, that I started working with him.
And
And it
what's
was
it like working with the great, legendary Zig Ziglar? And for everyone listening and watching, if you don't know who Zig Ziglar is, check him out. He's one of the leading experts in the field of personal development sales. I mean, he's just brilliant. Great books. Michelle, what was it like working with Zig?
Oh my goodness. It was amazing. I loved going to work every day. I got to see him behind the scenes. And I always say that he's better behind closed doors than even on the stage. I mean, just such a man of integrity. He cared about everyone. He was, obviously a great attitude. And so I learned so much from him and just being a part of the organization.
Fantastic. Very, very good. And so, for how many years did you work with him?
I was only there for about 3.5, 4 years, and it was right around the dot-com boom. And I was actually recruited away to go into IT sales, which eventually led into software sales. And so I was in the true software sales corporate world for about 13 years before I decided to take a leap and start my business. And it started with really me just having this desire. Once I left Ziglar, I loved what I did there. And I had to make the choice, follow the passion or follow the money. I followed the money. I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, but I don't regret it because I wouldn't be talking to you today had I stayed at Ziglar.
Mm.
So, because I needed those years to really figure out that maybe this, ladder of success I was trying to climb was up against the wrong wall. And I started asking myself, well, what would I do if I could do anything? And I just kept coming back to, what we did at Ziglar and motivating people and inspiring people and encouraging, but I didn't really know how to do that. So my way was I wanted to write a book. I'd always wanted to write a book. And so I decided to write a book in 2009, but really never to share it with anyone other than my family. It was just a personal goal. But that book is literally what opened up what is now a full-time business of speaking and coaching and doing seminars. And now I own a publishing company, helping people to tell their stories. So that's been my journey but it wasn't a planned journey. It just kind of organically happened.
Well, like I say, if it's meant to happen, it will happen. Nothing happens by accident. It's meant to happen, which put you in a great position right now. So thank you. So tell us, I'm going to get straight into it. How does one become the power of authority? How does someone become the authority in their field?
So the power of authority is actually the title of my last book.
Mm,
And it's really a play on words. And it is that you can't spell authority without author. And so I do believe that we do business with those we know, like, and trust. And the best way for our clients, our prospects to get to know us is to know our story, to know the backstory. We
mm,
all want to know how somebody can help us, but a lot of times we want to know well, how did you get there? Kind of like the first question you asked me. So I think when we put our stories out there, it just naturally attracts the customers that are ideal for us, but it also creates this platform of authority. And I view authority as just the ability to influence, to make an impact, to help someone personally or professionally. And one of the easiest ways to do it that I know is to put your content, put your story in a book and get it out there.
Oh, wow. Put it into a book. Okay, great. So, for those who are thinking, I'd love to write a book one day and publish a book one day, and I'm sure you come across lots of people, maybe. What stops people then doing that if they know that actually they will be positioned in the right way in their industry? What stops people?
So I see it all the time. One is people think, well, who cares about my story? Or, who am I to write a book? There's a lot of that. And I was one of those people,
Mm,
thinking, oh, well, I'm no Zig Ziglar, right? So there's a little bit of that head trash going on. But the other thing is people think that it's so difficult, that it's just such a huge thing to tackle. And the truth is it's not. It's you've written a book. I mean, does it take effort? Absolutely. Does it take time and resources? 100%. But it's like following a recipe. And if you know the recipe, you know the ingredients, and you know the order to put them in,
mm,
you can write a book. It's not rocket science. And so much of what you would put into a book, if not all, it's already in your head. You're already sharing it with your customers. So why not take that and bind it and put it in a format that you can reach more people. But there's also some credibility that comes with being an author.
mm.
And it's just an automatic expert. We see somebody as the expert. We see them as the authority because they wrote the book.
Yes, 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 you're absolutely right. And so, do you have any methodologies for those who are stuck in, they've got it here,
Mhm.
but for some reason, by the time they go to type it up, nothing's coming out, and they may be attempting, then they write a few words, and then there's that block. Do you have any
Yeah.
techniques or strategies that help people move out of that space and get it all out?
Absolutely. I actually have a framework. I call it the authority framework. And if it's okay with you, I'll just walk you through those
Go for
steps.
it. Go for it.
Okay. Because I do think it helps. And this really works, whether you want to write a book or not, you still have to have, clarity on your message and whether you put it in a podcast, whether you speak it from a stage or write it in a book. So it really does apply whether you want to write a book or not. But the first step is clarity, and this sounds so simple, but what do you really want? What do you want for your business? What do you want for your personal life? That's one of the things, especially business owners, entrepreneurs, founders, leaders, we're so busy plowing through every day that we don't stop and think, well, what do I really want to achieve out of this?
Right.
And that's really the first start. I mean, you can't do anything until you have clarity. And I won't spend too much time there. But along the lines of that too is figuring out, well, then why aren't you there, right? What is holding you back? Potentially, it could be procrastination. It could be lack of focus. It could be fear. I see it more than anything, though, like I mentioned earlier, it's a lack of belief, a lack of belief of thinking that you have anything to say that matters. But I'm here to tell you, you do. And so those are the first two steps of the framework. And so it's really more dealing with who you are. But then the third step is figuring out, well, what's your story? And that's where you start. What is your core message? And again, it can go in a book or in other means, but it's what is it that you can provide or share with someone personally or professionally that can make an impact? Maybe you've built a business. Maybe you've learned a strategy or a framework. Maybe you've helped people with their mindset, whatever that is figuring it out. And I'll give you a real quick exercise that you can do if you're not sure what your story is.
Mm,
And it's simple. I mean, you are your story. So it's figuring out, well, what are you passionate about? What do you love to talk about? What do you love to help people with? And then where is your experience? And sometimes experience is work related, sometimes it's personal, but not all experience is positive, right? So sometimes we've had to overcome something difficult. But if that passion is tied there, it could be that maybe a part of your story is helping other people not to have the same obstacles. I mean, from the little bit I know of your story, Mac, I know you had to overcome some obstacles, right, to get to a place of financial freedom.
absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So, and you shared that in a book, right? And so you have so much more to share, obviously, but that may be your core message. And so that's really the starting point of the rest of the framework is that piece of the story.
I love it. So for anyone listening in thinking, I don't know where to start, there is a strategy. There's a framework that takes you step by step. So if you get a chance, contact Michelle, see how she can help you. Anyway, by the way, I'm just thinking about this. For those people who think, I'd love to write a book, even if I figure it out, but they're still sitting on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Benefits of writing a book will actually may become a carrot for them to say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get these benefits. What are some, maybe list 3 or 5 key benefits of writing and finally publishing that book?
You bet. So actually, the title of my third book is Your Book is Your Business Card. And I believe this
Oh,
with
wow.
all of my heart. Your book truly is the business card. So if you're looking for a way to differentiate yourself from competition, if you're looking for a way to stand out, a book is one of the best ways to do it, because no matter the size of the book, even if it's a small mini book or a chapter in someone else's book, people will throw away a business card, but they will never throw away a book, even if they don't read it. It's something we place a lot of value. So that's one reason alone, right? And look at it as marketing and leverage, because it does work. But also, it instantly creates in the minds of other people you as the authority, as the expert, and we all want to work with the expert. So you're making it almost easier for your prospects to self-select that you are the person that they want to work with. It also gives you the opportunity to build a platform. I love talking about building platforms, because it's not about a book. It is about your story, but you have to get it out there in many multiple different ways. But when you do, you're building this authority platform. And so people can, they're gaining a benefit from you when they read what you wrote, when they hear what you say, when they, maybe read a blog post or listen to you on a podcast. So building that authority framework, or I'm sorry, platform, comes as a result of getting your book out there. But at the end of the day, it's, I think, one of the easiest ways to impact as many people as possible, because you can't possibly meet everyone that needs to hear your message. But a book can get out there in that way.
Wow, there you go. So that's the key benefit. So if it's worth doing, spend time, do it, get it done. In my own experience, it does open doors. It does position you, and people are intrigued and want to do something with you. So let me ask you this. Clearly, you write a book. You may sell it wherever, $10, $20, $30, it doesn't matter. But what is the real value, or what are other ways of generating income or revenue with a book, apart from selling books in large quantities? And if you're going to make
Yes.
this money, you got to spend a lot of time selling large quantities. But where's the real money?
Yeah. So the average first time author sells about 500 books, family, friends, community, that kind of thing. So if, and just do the math, if you have a $20 book, how many books do you have to sell to make the amount of money you want to make in a year? A lot of books. So if you certainly do make money selling books, but the opportunity comes as a result of you being a published author. Published authors are talk show worthy or media worthy, right? They're considered the experts. So it gives you the opportunity to get your message out there to areas that you probably couldn't before. But it's speaking opportunities. When I first wrote my book, I wrote my book for my boys, my kids who are in elementary school, that I thought one day I want them to read my story.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I really, truly, I was still working my corporate sales job. So I wrote this book, but what happened immediately after we launched it was opportunities to speak, opportunities to do coaching. All of that was revenue. And it was only because I was a published author. I was the same person the day before I wrote my book, and I'm the same person today. But yet that book is what opened up these opportunities for multiple revenue streams.
Well, there you go. So the book's published. Now you're getting requests to speak at different places. You're getting media interviews. You're getting people to say, can you coach me in this aspect or that aspect? And that's where the real money is. It's not just a book. It's all the other things that come with it. I love that. It's fantastic, fantastic. What about brand? What about the using a book
Mhm.
to build your brand. Any words on that?
Yeah, because it's, again, going back to that core message. People want to know, how can you help them? And so your book should be put out there in a way that this is how I can serve you. This is what I can help you with. For you, your last book, it's mindset and finances and things like that. So your brand, you need to have that consistency of brand, right? So somebody goes to Facebook, you are consistent in how you look on LinkedIn and how you look on Twitter.
Mm.
But utilizing that book as the launching pad. It's not just about the book though, but it's beyond that. But the more you put yourself out there with consistency of branding, that's how that you elevate that authority status. I mean, that platform comes as a result of you being out there in multiple ways. And then people just, it's perception. They recognize you as the expert because, oh, they've written the book, check. Oh, they're out here consistently branding the same way, check. It's just the way we are in such a social society now that is a big part of branding.
And I love what you said there, that it's ideally must flow throughout all your platforms.
Mm-hmm.
That book, the message you're getting out there, to monetize it, make sure it's across, there's consistency across all your social media platforms, all, when people type you into Google, what they are seeing, and that consistency actually helps to build your brand. I love that. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you. Good.
And you can do lots of different things though. I mean, I am a publisher and I help people to write books, but I also do training and speaking and leadership and all of those things. So you can do multiple things, but again, it's just all about how you package it and brand it that will matter.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that then, because someone who thinks on the flip side, someone thinks, well, I can write a book. It's not that easy. All these people, look at her, look at him. I can do it. And they just put something together. They haven't followed your format. In other words, there's no clarity.
Right.
They don't know the audience they're speaking to. They've just got this jumbled stuff out their head and put it onto paper, got it to print, and it's not selling, and they're not in demand. What are they doing wrong?
Well, a couple things. I mean, there's no lack of things you could do to market yourself in a book. So it's possibly that they're not just, they're not doing the basics, right? Putting, social media and things like that. But, I think you don't want to confuse people with what you can do. So kind of think of everything as like this overarching, like what is the core of what you do? Like I'll take me, for example. So I do have a publishing company. I do all of these other things, but the core of it is helping people to find their passion, follow or find their purpose, follow their passion, tell their story, and make a difference. So whether I'm in a company doing leadership training or organizational behavior, disc training things, or I'm helping somebody to figure out how to write a book and build a brand, it ultimately funnels down to your ability to make an impact and make a difference. And so that's kind of my overarching brand. But it goes in many different silos. Zig Ziglar, great example. So he wrote 30 plus books before he died, and he did all different types of things. He started in sales, then he went into personal development, and then he did things in marriage, he did things in the faith base, he did so many different things, but he had that overarching brand of motivation, inspiration, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it seeped into all of it.
And with you, I love that. Purpose, passion, tell your story, make a difference. Clean. Very, very good. And do you believe some people need coaching in that regard to actually come up with the essence of what they do?
Oh, yes.
It can't be that easy to come up. I mean, I certainly had help in the past, and it can't be that easy trying to figure it out on your own.
No, I agree totally. So I do a live event a couple of times a year where people come, and most of them come with no idea what they would write about. But by the end of the first day, they have an entire book outlined out. And the reason is everything you would put into a book is right here. It's up in your head. So by going through some exercises and just kind of pulling it out, but it does go back to, what is it that you're passionate about, experience, but also who do you want to help? Who are you really drawn to help, and niching it down? You can't help everyone. So thinking about, well, what naturally like, for example, if you want to help small business owners, which I know you do. So what is it that you want to help small business owners with, right? And kind of niching that down. But it's a coach or a community to help you see sometimes what you can't see in yourself is so critical. I'm a big believer in coaching and mentors. I've always had a mentor in all the years I've been in business, because and it could be because of our mindset, it could be because of lack of confidence, it could just be because you don't know what to do, but a mentor is going to help you see what you can't see yet and maybe get it out there.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Having a mentor or coach that can help you to move, because you can move forward faster than you can try and do on your own. Yes,
Right.
I get that. So for those people who want to learn more from you, or they want to go down this avenue of getting their book written first of all and published, what how do they contact you then? What's the best way?
Probably the best way is to take advantage. We do free strategy sessions where to help you figure out, well, do you even have a story for a book? And what would that look like? And what are your best options? Because there's many, many different ways to
Mhm.
get to the same result with a book. So we will do those strategy calls. You can go to performancepublishinggroup.com, performancepublishinggroup.com. And there's some resources on there, but that strategy call is a great first step. And then we can, point you in the right direction of which way you should go.
Performancepublishinggroup.com. Got it.
Yes.
All right, no problem. We'll put a link in here as well to make it easier for people. Performancepublishinggroup.com. So there's a question that I had, which was, some people say, so how long will it take me to write my book? Do you have any stories of people publishing it in how many days or how many months or how many weeks, where they thought it's going to take them 5 years to get this book written and published, but they actually did it sooner by just getting it out of their head? Any stories around that regard?
Actually, a personal story. So for the 13 years I was in corporate America, I secretly wanted to write a book, and I couldn't, and I kind of had an idea of what I would do, but I didn't. And so it took me a long, long time to finally get the courage to do it. And by the time I made that decision, within 3 weeks, I had the entire book written. Took a little
Wow.
bit longer to publish it, but yeah, and it kind of goes back to, it's all right here. So
Right.
once you open the floodgates of like, oh, this is what it is, this is what I want to help people with, it comes easier. But I also know plenty of people that have taken years to write a book. And I always tell them it's probably because they chose a topic that they're either not passionate about, or they don't really have the depth or the credibility or the experience to back it up. For example, when all these years I was in sales, and I thought at first the book I was going to write was going to be a sales book, cold calling 101. And every time I thought about doing it, I was just like, oh, that sounds terrible.
There's no passion behind it,
I
right?
have no passion. And so people who come to me and say, oh, I've been working on a book for 10 years. I'm like, are you writing about something you know how to do? But are you really passionate about it? Because let's be honest, you would have had it out by now if you are.
Yeah, yeah.
But sometimes it's because we just don't have that clarity. And that goes back to, you really have to niche it down of, who do you want to serve? What can you help them with? Why should they listen to you? And until you get clarity for yourself, it's going to be really hard to get that out into a format for other people.
Yeah, and this goes back to your framework. I know you just shared a little bit of it, which was the purpose, the passion, the tell your story, the making a difference. So if someone doesn't know, they think they have a book in their head, it may be the right one, it may be the wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have something that says, okay, look, let's start with your purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, I call it my principles of success. My last name is Prince, so principles.
Prince,
But
I love that.
but it does go through a process, and I believe that everything starts with passion, because passion is what lights you up, right? And it's tied to your purpose. Now, it's not everything, but it is tied to your purpose, and I look at it as a clue. If we are all here on this earth for a purpose, I just happen to believe it's going to be something that we enjoy doing, right? It's not going to be something we dread, I wouldn't think. So passion will show you your purpose. But when you know your purpose and like, okay, this is what I'm here to do. I am here to help entrepreneurs, or I am here to help, stay-at-home moms, or whatever it is, then you perform at a level that's greater than you would if you didn't have a purpose, right? You know what you need to do, you know where to focus, and you get moving. And that performance is where it allows you to build that platform, because when you are performing at a level, people take notice and they say, well, how do you do it? Well, she's got something or he's got something. I want to know what you're doing. So because of that, you knew your purpose, you performed at a higher level. Now people are taking notice. You're building a platform, which all a platform means is you're sharing and people want to hear. Lots of people share, but you haven't earned the right of a platform, right? So all of that leads, but that's where I think you go from, just striving to success to significance, is when you figure out your purpose and then you start acting in it.
Yeah.
That's when you start making a difference in people's lives, and that's when the significance part comes.
Wow, I love that. It's yeah, because if someone's often when working with clients, if they're stuck and like you, and I can see there's no passion in what they're doing. At times I tell them, change the product or
Yeah.
stop this business. Don't do this business. Life is too
Yeah.
short. Let's find what it is you're really supposed to be doing. And guess what? That purpose coupled with that passion,
Mhm.
it won't even feel like work.
That's right. I say that passion pulls you. You don't have to push it.
Yeah.
And going back to when I was writing my book in 2009, I remember I was so excited and so passionate and so on fire to get this thing done. And I did get it done in 3.5 weeks, but I was getting up earlier than I would ever get up and staying later than I ever, but I loved it because it was a part of my passion, which ultimately is a part of my purpose.
And ultimately makes a difference like you're doing
It
now,
did.
making a difference to so
Yes.
many people all over, which is fantastic. And so, do you work with clients all over the world or mostly the USA?
All over the world. We
All
have
over.
clients. Yeah, we have people in all different countries. We've published books for people in different countries. We've had our seminars where people come to the U.S. from other countries. So it's pretty universal that we all have a story, and when we get our story out of our head onto paper, that's how we build our brand. It's how we build our platform and how we make a bigger impact in the world.
Wow, I love that. So, that was also in multiple languages, in if they're in certain parts of the world, I suppose. Okay.
We have, yep, yep.
Good, 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 good. You've been listening to Michelle Prince talking about the power of authority, being seen as the expert, getting your story out there, and most importantly, the best thing to do is to publish a book if you want to be positioned as the authority. Write and publish a book. She's been sharing with you various methodologies and the reason why and the benefits of publishing the book. In a moment, I'm going to go to Michelle for final words before we wrap up here. But you're listening to the Business Success Show. Go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening, whichever platform, follow whatever we're doing, and we'll bring other experts just like Michelle to you on the Business Success Show. So, Michelle, any final words before anything else you want to say before we end in a moment?
I do. No matter who you are, you do have a story, and your story matters. And even if it matters to one person, it's worth telling. But I can promise you that it will matter to many, many more people, because we associate with story, we learn, we get inspired by. But as a business owner, you have an opportunity to differentiate yourself and to stand out from your competition, because a book is your business card. People do perceive you differently, and you need to do it now before your competitor does it first.
Oh, we didn't touch on that one. So I love that. You need to do it now because you just said something here. And I remember there was a client of ours who is in real estate.
Mhm.
And and I kept talking about positioning, positioning. I hope she is listening. I hope she's listening because she needs to speak with you. And she's in real estate broker. And she said, but we all saying the same things. And because I teach them about their elevator pitch, their tagline. And then she said about positioning, Mac, how do I do it? Because everyone's saying the same thing. And I said, you need to have some positioning tools, some
Yeah.
marketing collateral. So ideally, publish a book. If
Yeah.
not, just get some few words together into a PDF, something you can print
Mhm.
off. And when you go and meet that prospective buyer of that property, hand them your book.
Yes.
That automatically positions you? Anything you want to say on that?
Oh my goodness, so much. But yes, absolutely. My business card is a little mini book. And it literally is what I give out. And people keep that and keep it on their desk for years. And
Mm,
then eventually call me and say, I'm ready to work with you. I'm like, how'd you find out about me? Oh, you gave me your business card a couple of years ago, and I couldn't throw it away. But
wow.
one more thing I'll say about real estate, I think this is fascinating. So if you think back to years and years ago, when the first person in real estate to put their picture on their business card, talk about positioning, right? Do you remember when that was really like
Yeah.
business cards were just words, and then all of a
Right.
sudden, so that person, and then eventually, all these other realtors stood out because it was different.
Right.
Right now in real estate, there are not many people putting out books. I mean, there are some, don't get me wrong, but to meet with somebody at their home and give them a what we call business card books,
Yeah.
it will differentiate you because people assume you're the expert, and we all want to work with the expert, the best.
Expert. Absolutely. So that triggered me when you said do it before your competitor does, because that's business, right? One
Yeah.
more, the URL, one more time before we finish here.
You bet. It's performancepublishinggroup.com, performancepublishinggroup.com.
Thank you very much, Michelle. It's been great having this conversation with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us this insight. Thank you for inspiring and motivating and really getting those messages across so people know why they have to publish their book, get their story out, and most importantly, contact you if they need support and need help. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you for having me, Mac. This was a lot of fun.
you're most welcome.